Far Cry 6 is the latest AAA title to hit Stadia day and date, but is it worth picking up? Today I'm here to answer that question and give you my overall thoughts and impressions of the title after spending some hours playing it. As a heads up, all the gameplay you're seeing in the background was captured off a Stadia instance running at 4K. With that out of the way, let me begin by talking about the gameplay, and let me just address the elephant in the room. The game does not have a performance mode, it is strictly 30 FPS at this point in time. I know it sucks, and I know it's a point of contention within the community right now, but I will note that despite that, the game handles pretty good. I can tell you right now that latency was never an issue. In fact, it's one of the better handling games on Stadia. I was pretty impressed by that, and believe me, this is coming from someone who definitely prefers 60 FPS for shooters. That being said, the game still runs at 30 FPS, and if that's something you can't handle playing on, you may want to look elsewhere or hold off on your purchase on Stadia and hope that Ubisoft patches in a frame rate mode much like they did with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Past that though, as I was saying, the gameplay is fantastic here. It's a lot of fun to play, and genuinely speaking, I didn't want to stop. But whether or not you find this game fun is certainly going to depend on how you feel about previous Far Cry entries, because this game is just more Far Cry. For better or worse, the same old formula is being used here, just with a new setting, and personally speaking, that setting has a lot to do with my enjoyment of the game, but more on that later. The main gameplay loop is still going from point A to point B, shooting up the place, sneaking around, stealing some goods, and then heading back. And when it comes to side activities, you're going to be dealing with fairly similar things. You can liberate a checkpoint to help your side of the revolution win the war, or go steal some airdrop goods that just dropped. The reward for doing this sort of thing is having more guerrilla fighters on the map available to you to help at a moment's notice, as well as having more scrap metal to craft new gear and equipment. And since we're on the topic of crafting and equipment, it's something you're going to be doing quite a lot of in Far Cry 6. Almost every activity you have in Far Cry 6 will have pieces of scrap metal laying around for you to pick up. You'll be using this to upgrade your weaponry with new attachments, and I will say that it is actually a pretty neat idea on how it's handled. They use the Spanish term resolver here, and it's certainly inspired by Cuba's DIY philosophy that's all about making the most out of what you have. In this game, that philosophy focuses on the weaponry that you're using to fight back, and I really do like how it shows. For example, one of the first things you'll craft in the game is a suppressor for one of your weapons. As you can tell, it's not a modern day suppressor by any means, and due to that fact, it also has some drawbacks. Use it too much and it starts to burn up and your gun no longer sounds suppressed. While this isn't a brand new concept in the Far Cry franchise by any means, it certainly is the first time I feel like it actually fits what's going on. There have been pretty crazy weapons in the past, but pretty much just for the sake of being crazy. Here, you're fighting against a dictatorship in a revolution, and you don't really have much else than whatever you can get your hands on. And the fact that these sort of things actually do get some drawbacks because, hey, they're not meant for this sort of thing, is actually a really cool gameplay mechanic. Aside from that, when speaking about traversal, not much has changed here. If you've played previous Far Cry games, all the same elements are still in place. You can go on foot, drive a car, ride a horse, fly a plane, all of that is still here. Later on in the game, you will be able to upgrade certain vehicles with weaponry, but for the most part, most of the gameplay here is very unchanged. For better or worse, that can kind of apply to almost everything gameplay related to Far Cry 6. That being said, there is one change that I really do dislike, and that has to do with the ammo types. For example, there's a soft target and armor piercing one. This sort of thing has existed in the past, but I feel like it's a lot more emphasized here. If you're using the wrong ammo type on the wrong target, you will notice a huge reduction in damage. I'm not sure I'm a fan of this system yet. I've been playing it for quite some time, and I find it more annoying than anything when you're stuck in a firefight and having to figure out what type of ammo you need for the guy in front of you. Now you can scout ahead and figure all of this out by just viewing them and targeting them and seeing what their weakness is, but personally, in the Far Cry series, I'm all about that chaotic fun. This kinda slows things down a bit, but on the bright side, it does give you a reason to build guns differently. Typically, I carry one for soft targets, one for armored targets, and then one special weapon that's just plain old fun like a flamethrower. Maybe this change will grow on me, but as of right now, I can't say I'm a fan. Now that we've covered the majority of the actual gameplay, let me just talk a bit about the visuals. I can't tell you the exact resolution the game is running on Stadia, I'm not sure myself, but I will say it looks pretty damn good. Seriously, some of the vistas and views in this game had me just pausing to take a look. Some of the scenes in this game are just so beautiful, and the foliage really makes it feel like a living, breathing world. The island setting is something I'm a huge fan of, and it really did bring me back a bit to Far Cry 3, which by far is my favorite Far Cry entry. I don't know about anyone else, but personally, it just made me want to explore. The gun models, the characters are all well detailed as well. I have to give a huge shout out once again to those attachments because they are very neatly designed. The way the suppressor ends up burning up as you use it more and more just looks really satisfying. Not to mention when you use the Supremo weapons like the mortar backpack, it just looks very impactful. But as I was mentioning earlier, the Stadia version in particular looks impressive, to the point where I was genuinely shocked at how good it looked. Yeah, it's 30 FPS, but I genuinely do think that they tried to get the most out of the hardware here. And I gotta give them props because honestly speaking, I wasn't expecting it to look this good on Stadia. Now to speak just a bit about the story, I don't want to give any spoilers, but I will say that I find it fairly charming, although it can be a little bit basic. And by that, I mean it's pretty easy to tell where the story is going at all times. Nothing too surprising has hit me so far. I will say, I really dig the main character and the way their voice acting is handled, as well as the voice acting of other characters. From my experience so far, I'm not willing to say that the game's story is going to be a huge memorable one, but I have been enjoying it quite a lot. Not to mention, the main villain being the actor from Breaking Bad is a huge bonus as he does a fantastic job. All in all though, do I think this game is worth picking up on Stadia? Yes, but only if you're a fan of the franchise and want more of it. The truth at the end of the day is that not much of the formula has changed here. I know there are some critics out there who have panned the game strictly for this reasoning, but honestly speaking, I don't see why. Far Cry is made for Far Cry fans. These games sell a ton. People enjoy what's experienced here. There have been people out there who have called out the game for its creativity, but genuinely speaking, they're not making the game for you. They're making it for its fans, the people who actually enjoy and buy this game. It's like blaming Call of Duty for not mixing things up in a big way. To get back on track here though, Far Cry 6 is definitely worth it if you enjoy the franchise, and as far as my opinion goes on it, I think it's the best entry in the Far Cry series in a long time. While not much is new, I will say a lot of it does feel refined. The setting and location is very exciting, and it's one that I'm happy to experience. And to top it off, the game has some beautiful visuals for you to take in. As far as playing on Stadia goes, it handles perfectly fine. I've enjoyed my time with the game and I would recommend it. The only person I wouldn't recommend this to on Stadia is for those who can't look past the 30 frames per second. And if you're still undecided, let me just remind you that you can pick up the game on Stadia, and as long as you're within 2-hour playtime within a 2-week period, you can refund it. This way you can try it out for yourself, see what it's like, and then make the judgment on your own. As a reminder, the game is also available through Ubisoft Plus if you are a subscriber or if you want to consider subscribing just to play through it. Not to mention, October 28th is the release of Riders Republic, which gives you time to enjoy that game too. Either way, if you have any remaining questions about the game itself, do let me know down in the comment section below and I'll answer what I can. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit that like button as it really does help the channel out, and if you're wanting more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. As a quick heads up, I will be covering this game on GeForce Now, and I am wondering if there's any interest in a graphics comparison between the two. Let me know down in the comment section below, but as always, thank you for watching the video. This has been The Virtual Cloud, giving you the latest and greatest on everything cloud gaming and VR related, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.